What's up, YouTube? Ultimate Shield 340 back again with another Destiny 2 video. Background footage is just to have as a background while I go ahead and talk about the Titan Prismatic Class, and to give you my thoughts about it, as well as to extend the conversation that's currently going on about Titans, which is in response to a video that Ascos had made, and it talks about the Titan class in general, but then I'm also going to talk a lot about Prismatic Titan and my thoughts about it and why ultimately the Titan class needs a rework. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I think one of the biggest problems with the Titan class actually really came out with the Prismatic. Actually, with Prismatic, the other two classes, the Hunter and Warlock, it seems like the classes are a lot more synergistic with itself, like the Warlock aspects and fragments, sort of synergize a lot better than the Titan aspects. And the other issue with the Prismatic Titan class overall, in my opinion, is that a lot of the biggest things about the Titan class, they actually didn't pick to be part of Prismatic at all. For instance, they chose, for instance, the Solar Melee. They chose the I can't even remember what it's called, because that tells you how often I actually ever use it in actual builds. But it's the shoulder charge that has the fire with it, where if you hit a target and you kill a target with it, it will ignite everything behind it. Which is something that I don't usually see people run whenever they play Titan. It's usually, of course, on camera instead. And I can understand why they might not have added that to the Titan Prismatic class, because they wanted to kind of spice it up and do something a little bit different rather than kind of give you the same thing. I think it was kind of a bad move overall, because they actually left off some very important things in Prismatic that would have really helped out the Titan in a big way. And when it comes to other classes, the Titans, not the Titans, I'm sorry, the Warlocks and the Hunters, I feel as if, they pretty much got a lot of the good things that was great about their class, and then they were able to sort of take that with them in Prismatic, but not so much the Titan. For instance, one of the, if you're anything like me, and you love to play Stasis, I believe that the Hunter Stasis, the Revenant, I think is actually what it's called. It's actually a fantastic class in my personal opinion. With the Renewal Grasp, which got to rework this season, but also, just how the gameplay is. You actually, they actually have that in their kit. And again, a lot of their kit, Gunpowder Gamble, it all synergizes very, very well with each other, but not so much Prismatic Titan. And if you look at the aspects, it looks like only two of them actually synergize very well with each other, that being Consecration and Knockout. One increases your melee damage, which is Knockout, and will give you extended range of damage, and then will also heal you on final blows with melees. But then also Consecration is that big old AoE slam, which is actually very great for clearing out ads and things like that. Those two things synergize very well. On the flip side, the darkness aspects, the Dranger's Lash and the Diamond Lance, seem to be a bit out of place, because they are, and this is just my opinion, they're very redundant with each other. They're both CC options for this class. And what I mean specifically is that, like, to me, while you can run both of those aspects together, and that would make a pretty solid build in and of itself, it feels as if it sort of cancels each other out. So for instance, if you freeze somebody, then you suspend somebody. I can't remember if you actually still get the shatter damage, but you're effectively canceling one CC out for another. And same thing goes in reverse. If you suspend somebody, and then you freeze them, they're not suspended anymore. And then as soon as you do enough damage to them, which is not very much in the grand scheme of things, you're actually going to shatter them, and then they'll be free from their CC. And the dual problem with that is that if you then take one of the, trade off one of your melee aspects, either Consecration or Knockout, for the other CC abilities, then effectively you have to, the trade-off, I understand there should be trade-offs, but the trade-off is so great that it makes it hard to sort of justify, especially for in-game, it makes it very difficult for you to make a decision as far as a Titan is concerned for Prismatic, what you should or should not, take instead. Because if you take one of the CC classes, CC aspects, either Drinker's Lash or Diamond Lance, that also means that you will either have to pick between Consecration, or you'll have to pick between um, uh, Consecration or Knockout. And it's, both of those have their merits. Either you're going to lose out on a lot of AoE damage, which, quite frankly, you're going to really want in a lot of, content with Consecration, or you're going to lose out on that extra damage that Knockout's going to give you. And it just does not synergize very well, as opposed to, say, like the Warlock, where you'll get like Feed the Void, and then you'll get the Bleak Watcher turrets, which incidentally will then cover all of Stasis's weakness. You'll be able to freeze targets, but then any ability kill that you get, you'll be able to gain Devour and get a whole bunch of sustain, which is the #1 weakness of Stasis. Even before the rework, and even so much now, it's still kind of sort of the same issue, where Stasis still does not have the sustain that it really needs to shine. And where am I going with this? The point is that the aspects that they could have chosen for the Titan, they decided to leave it out, because it's really a patchwork class. The Titan class is, a lot of the Titan fantasy, so to speak, is built around melees, which is fine. But the problem is that that's great in normal content, but it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to consistently pull that off in, say, Grandmasters or in-game content. Now, it most certainly can be done. I don't want you to misunderstand me or anything like that. It most certainly can be done. I've seen plenty of video where, better players, far better players than me, are able to pull off multiple Consecration slams and are able to, really make the Titan shine in in-game content. But they have to go through so many trials and tribulations to make it, as effective as the other classes. And the other classes don't have to work anywhere near as hard as the Titan has to do to make their kits work, not just with Prismatic, but across the board. Because I know that many of you are, anybody who plays the Titan has all seen the Consecration builds, Thunderclap and things like that. But I'm going to be very surprised to see if there's going to be very many Titans who are going to be showcasing those same sort of web gems in Grandmaster content, now that the Grandmasters have finally dropped. Again, I know that there is going to be somebody out there somewhere who's going to be able to do that, but the point here stands is that melee abilities, especially ones that are very close range, like many of the Titan ones, not only in Prismatic, but across the Titan kit across the board, it's not very viable in in-game content in a lot of different ways, because you're gonna get shredded very easily and very quickly. And while I would say this last thing too is that although there has been some changes to improve the quality of life for Titans in general, with some of the changes to aspects such as like how they changed Void, offensive bulwark, where if you have an overshield, you will be able to keep the overshield going if you get a melee kill, and the increase to the damage resistance to Thunderclap, as well as the damage that it gives, has definitely helped the Titan class to sort of feel better, but it still is not up to par as it stands. And Titan, the Prismatic Titan, is a very clear indication of that I don't think that Bungie really knows what they can or really can do with the Titan class here at this point, or what they should even be doing with the Titan class here at this point, because the class itself is just in a very unusual state where it's either really good with what they have available, with what we as Titans have available. Say for instance Banner of War, prime example. Banner of War was fantastic when it first came out. People were able to sort of do this sort of power fantasy where you're able to go ahead and use melees to do this effect that actually was very supportive in team play, help keep you alive, especially, and was very more team support oriented. And if you had Banner of War, in addition to Woven Mail lasting the full 10 seconds back before the actual changes, you could actually viably make a in-game build in Grandmaster content that would actually help you fulfill that slot in team settings and then fulfill that power fantasy that Titans are actually known for. But again, the issue is that when things for Titans specifically are great, like Banner War, it tends to really get a lot of nerfs. Syntheseps, and it's not just our aspects of fragments. It's also with our a lot of our exotics. Syntheseps have gotten nerfed several times, and it has caused sort of a dilemma for us as Titans because it's what are we doing? What are we able to really lean upon, and especially in in-game content, and what is going to set our class apart from both the Hunter and the Warlock? And I just don't think that at this point in time, Bungie has an accurate answer for that. And I don't think that any buffs that they provide to the Titan class, minus actual like rework of the Titan class, like a base kit of Titan, is really going to be able to address those things. Great, it would be fantastic if we can get a buff to a few other things to again improve the quality of life. But seeing how Bungie really operates with the Titan class, they will sort of buff Titans and some of the things that we can do, and then they will quickly nerf it because for whatever reason, Bungie can't get the balancing on Titans right for whatever reason. So that's rather unfortunate. So what do we do at this point? What do we propose instead of although I have my perspective about it, what can we propose to maybe move the Titan class forward and maybe give it a unique sense of class identity? Well, I believe that it's already in game in a way that would actually be very fun and dynamic, that Bungie can actually sort of address in its own balance and things like that. With the final shape, we were giving a brand new super in the form of Twilight Arsenal, where you will use those Void Axes and throw it at the enemy, causing a whole bunch of damage. But then the axis will linger on the field where your teammates and stuff can pick it up. Well, I think, why don't we just build off of that? Why don't we some of that's already in game, where, why don't we build other, like, not just the supers, but the aspects as well. So for instance, Unbreakable is, a prime example of this. Another new aspect that they actually added to the Titan Arsenal, where, you are going to use this aspect to gain a specific effect. But what if it, like, once you use the Unbreakable, what if then it took on the qualities of like Bastion? Whenever you shot it off, it would give you like a kind of pulse and give you an overshield, sort of like how Tangles do whenever you're into the fray. But this time it's void overshields. What if that was something that you could do? Or other aspects and things like that you can use to sort of create weapons or create certain effects in game that your teammates will be able to use and take support of. And I think it would be very cool because it would be a sort of a mix between Hunter and Warlock, where you're summoning things like a Warlock, but you're creating weapons and things just like the Hunters do in their series. But it lingers on the field that not only you as the player could use, but also your teammates could use to support it. And it could also, again, we already have things like that already functions in game, which they also kind of changed recently was, the Ward of Dawn, where you will summon that shield. But what if it was like, you could do that, but also summon something else, like, a staff of some kind, where you could do some kind of long range ability or something. And I understand that these suggestions are, I'm just kind of shooting these, suggestions off the hip, but I do think that if we change the Titan class in this way, we can alter both the exotics and the gameplay to make it feel better for the players who enjoy Titan, but then also make it have its own unique class identity, which I think that the Titan class is sorely missing here at this point. That's pretty much all I got off the top of my head. I might make another video to continue to explain some other things that I kind of thought about in the past, after I made this video. But that sort of sums up a lot of what I sort of think about the Titan class overall. It is a fun class. It definitely has potential, but it most certainly needs a rework in a way that would be meaningful, because it at this point it just does not have a very good class identity for a number of different reasons, which I hope I made very clear in my video, as you see here. So what do you all think? Do you like this discussion? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What is your opinion about Prismatic Titan? Now, I'll leave you with this. I'm going to continue to play Prismatic Titan, well, the Titan class, for a little while longer. At this point, I've done almost everything. I've done everything in the Pale Heart expansion, except for the raid, and then, of course, get the Stoicism exotic. I'm going to continue to do that, and then also unlock the things I need to unlock in order to get everything else unlocked on the Pale Heart here at this point. But then after that, I'm not really sure what I want to do, if I want to switch over to a different class or not. I still will play Titan as I continue playing Destiny, so I'm not going to give up on this class by any means, but it might be a good idea for me to just kind of switch off to the other classes at this point and just see what they have to offer, and just see what I can do with those classes and do that. So that's all I got. Ultimate Shield 340 signing off. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and all those other things, and otherwise I'll see you in Destiny 2. Peace.